The Power of Taking Action by A.T. Shiva. Audiobook video. If you've ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure of where to begin, this book is for you. This isn't just another motivational speech. It's a step-by-step guide to help you break through fear, build unstoppable momentum, and create a life of purpose through consistent action. So whether you're driving, working out, or just taking a moment for yourself, hit play, listen in, and let these words fuel your next move. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs a push in the right direction. Now, let's dive into the power of taking action. Introduction: Unlocking your potential through action. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean of possibilities, dreams waiting to be realized, goals longing to be achieved, a life full of potential yet to be tapped. The question is not whether you have the talent or the ideas, but whether you are willing to take the first step forward. Because the true secret to transformation, success, and fulfillment lies not in what you think or plan, but in what you actually do. The Power of Taking Action is a guide for anyone who wants to break free from hesitation, fear, and procrastination and step boldly into the life they envision. This book isn't about quick fixes or empty motivation. It's about cultivating the mindset, habits, and strategies that turn intention into reality. Action is the bridge between dreams and achievement. It is the engine that drives growth, the spark that ignites change, and the force that reshapes your world. Throughout these chapters, you will discover how to overcome self-doubt, break through mental barriers, build unstoppable momentum, and sustain progress even when the path gets tough. You'll learn to harness your inner courage, align your actions with your deepest values, and create systems that support your ongoing evolution. This book is designed to empower you. Not just to start, but to keep going and to thrive through consistent, purposeful action. No matter where you are in life, whether launching a new career, pursuing a passion, improving relationships, or simply wanting to live more fully, this book offers practical insights and inspiration to help you take control and create meaningful change. The power is in your hands, and the moment to act is now. Are you ready to unlock your true potential? Let's take that first step together. Chapter 1. Why Action Beats Intention Every Time. The Invisible Force Behind Success. Every success story begins with a spark, an idea, a dream, or a desire. But what separates those who only dream from those who achieve is the invisible force of action. While it feels good to think about your goals, to imagine your future success, or to plan out every detail, none of these moments create actual change. Action is the engine that drives your dreams forward. Think of your life like a car. Intention is the key in the ignition. It has the potential to start the journey. But unless you shift into gear and press the accelerator, you'll remain parked. That first movement is crucial because it signals commitment to yourself and the universe. It says, "I'm ready to make this happen." And the moment you take that step, the landscape around you begins to shift. Doors open, ideas flow, and opportunities arise. The power of action is the power to transform possibility into reality. The intention trap: why so many people stay stuck. It's easy to fall into the intention trap, a mental loop where you feel busy dreaming and planning but are frozen when it comes to actually doing. Maybe you've promised yourself 100 times that you'll start that project tomorrow, or you've spent months refining the perfect plan. But tomorrow never comes and perfection remains elusive. Why does this happen? It's because taking action involves discomfort, fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of the unknown. Staying in the realm of intention feels safer. You can imagine the best-case scenario without risking anything. Additionally, the modern world encourages endless preparation and optimization, which paradoxically leads to paralysis. The more you analyze, the more you delay. This trap is deadly because it gives you the illusion of progress. You might spend hours planning, researching, or talking about your goals, mistaking this activity for real advancement. But without action, those intentions are empty promises to yourself. Recognizing this trap is the first step toward liberation, knowing that your future self will thank you for the steps you take today, no matter how imperfect. The science behind action: why movement changes everything. Action is not just a motivational slogan, it's a scientific truth backed by psychology and neuroscience. When you take action, your brain undergoes neuroplasticity. It physically changes, forming new connections that support new habits and skills. The more you do something, the easier it becomes because your brain rewires to accommodate that behavior. Action also triggers the Zeigarnik effect, which means that your mind keeps you focused on incomplete tasks, creating a natural drive to finish what you started. This internal pressure helps you maintain momentum. Finally, physics teaches us about momentum, the tendency of moving objects to keep moving. When you begin to act, you create psychological momentum. Your confidence grows, your fears lessen, and subsequent actions become easier. This creates a positive feedback loop that propels you toward your goals faster than you imagine possible. The key is to start, even if the first step is small or imperfect. Action versus intention. Real-life examples. Look at any person who has achieved great things, and you'll find a trail of persistent action behind their success. Take J.K. Rowling, for example. She dreamed of telling the story of Harry Potter, but faced rejection after rejection, living in tough circumstances. She could have given up, but her consistent action, submitting manuscripts, rewriting chapters, believing in her story, eventually led to a publishing deal and worldwide fame. Another example is Elon Musk, whose visions for electric cars and space exploration seemed impossible at first. But through relentless action, launching rockets, building factories, iterating products, those visions turned into reality. Even in your own life, you can recall moments when action changed your trajectory. Learning to walk, speaking your first words, or applying for a job. All started with action, not just intention. These examples show that while ideas and dreams are necessary, action is the engine that drives progress. Common barriers to taking action and how to overcome them. Many obstacles can keep us from acting, but understanding them helps us overcome them. Fear of failure. This fear is natural. No one enjoys feeling embarrassed or falling short. But the truth is, failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of it. Every failure is a stepping stone to mastery. To conquer fear, start small. Allow yourself to make tiny, safe mistakes that build resilience. Reframe failures as lessons rather than reflections of your worth. Perfectionism, waiting for perfect conditions or flawless plans, is a trap. Progress is better than perfection every time. Begin where you are with what you have. Think of your first draft as a sketch, not a finished painting. Overwhelm. Big goals can paralyze us. The solution is to break your goal into tiny, manageable steps. If you can't tackle a task, start with a 2-minute action. Sometimes just opening your notebook is enough to get the ball rolling. Lack of motivation. Motivation fluctuates. Don't rely on feelings alone. Build habits and routines that make action automatic. Use implementation intentions. Plan exactly when and where you will act to create structure. Distractions and procrastination. The digital age is full of distractions. To fight procrastination, create boundaries. Turn off notifications, set dedicated workspaces, and use techniques like the Pomodoro method, 25 minutes focus, 5 minutes rest. By identifying your personal barriers and creating strategies to overcome them, you create a powerful foundation for sustained action. How to build momentum and keep going. Momentum is like a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small but gains speed and size as it moves. To build momentum, you have to start somewhere, no matter how small. The key is consistency. Small, repeated actions compound into big results. Tracking your progress is essential because it makes your efforts visible and rewarding. This could be as simple as checking off daily tasks or keeping a journal. Celebrate your wins, no matter how tiny. These moments of acknowledgement fuel your motivation and reinforce positive behavior. Create rituals by doing your actions at the same time or place each day, turning them into habits that require less conscious effort. This automaticity frees your mental energy for creativity and problem solving. When you face setbacks, and you will, remember momentum can be regained quickly by taking just one step forward. The important thing is to keep moving. Powerful tools to turn intention into action. To help you get started and stay on track, here are some effective tools. The 5-second rule, Mel Robbins. When you feel hesitation, count down from 5 and move before your mind can stop you. This disrupts doubt and kickstarts action. Time blocking. Allocate specific chunks of time on your calendar solely for working on your goals. Treat these blocks as sacred appointments with yourself to ensure consistent progress. Accountability partners. Share your goals with someone who can encourage you, hold you accountable, and celebrate your successes. Knowing someone else is watching makes it harder to procrastinate. Micro-commitments. Make tiny promises to yourself that feel easy but add up over time, like writing one sentence or doing one push-up. Using these tools reduces hesitation and helps turn good intentions into unstoppable action. Reflective exercises. To ground this chapter's lessons in your own life, try these exercises. 1. Write down goals or dreams you've been intending to pursue but haven't started. Reflect on why you haven't acted. Be honest with yourself. 2. Close your eyes and imagine your life 6 months from now if you took consistent action toward those goals. Feel the excitement, pride, and maybe the challenges. 3. Choose one micro-action you can do today. It might be sending an email, reading a chapter, or brainstorming ideas. Write it down, set a timer, and do it. No excuses. These reflections and actions help break inertia and set your journey in motion. Story Spotlight: Sarah's journey from idea to impact. Sarah dreamed of helping homeless youth but felt stuck in her 9-to-5 job with no clear path forward. One day, she committed to volunteering just 1 hour at a local shelter. That small step introduced her to a community of passionate people and opened her eyes to real needs. Motivated by what she saw, Sarah organized small fundraisers, then larger events, building a network of support. Within a year, she launched a nonprofit that now helps hundreds of homeless youth get back on their feet. Sarah's story illustrates a powerful truth: you don't need to have everything figured out before starting. Small actions can cascade into massive impact when fueled by passion and persistence. Final words: your action starts now. Unlocking your true potential requires just one thing: action. No matter how small, the moment you decide to move forward, you send a powerful signal to your mind and the universe that you are ready to grow. Every hesitation costs time, energy, and opportunity. Every step forward rewrites your story. Today, choose to be a doer, not just a dreamer. The power of taking action is the power to transform your life, one bold move at a time. Chapter 2. Overcoming Fear: The First Step to Courageous Action. Introduction: Why fear holds us back. Fear is an emotion so primal that it has shaped humanity's survival for millennia. It alerts us to danger, triggers physical responses, and protects us from harm. But in today's world, fear often shows up not because we are physically threatened, but because we're emotionally or socially vulnerable. When it comes to pursuing a dream or making a big change, fear can act like a powerful anchor, stopping us from moving forward even when the risks are minimal or manageable. This is because fear attaches itself to the uncertainty of change, the possibility of failure, or the judgment of others. It creates a mental traffic jam that stops action cold. Yet, paradoxically, fear is also a signpost. It signals that you're about to grow, to stretch beyond your comfort zone. The edge of your comfort zone is where transformation happens, but it's also where fear feels the strongest. The key to success is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act in spite of it. Recognizing that fear is natural and even necessary gives you permission to feel it without being controlled by it. This chapter is designed to help you understand your fears and build the courage to take action anyway, because courage isn't the lack of fear, it's moving forward with it. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. Jack Canfield. Understanding Fear: The Brain's Survival Mechanism. Fear arises from the deepest parts of the brain, especially the amygdala, which acts as the brain's alarm system. When the amygdala senses danger, it triggers the fight, flight, or freeze response to keep us safe. In prehistoric times, this rapid reaction saved lives, for example, quickly fleeing a predator or fighting off threats. However, in modern life, the amygdala often reacts to perceived threats that are psychological or emotional, not physical. The prospect of public speaking, starting a new business, or asking for a raise might set off the same alarm bells as a physical danger, even though the risks are much lower. This biological response can make fear feel overwhelming, irrational, or impossible to ignore. But here's the good news: the brain's fear response can be managed. Understanding that your brain is reacting to keep you safe helps create space between the feeling and your response. You can choose how to act rather than being hijacked by instinct. Techniques such as deep breathing, mindfulness, and cognitive reframing can calm the amygdala's response and allow your prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of the brain, to regain control. This means that while fear is automatic, your actions are not. Fear is the brain's way of saying that there is something important for you to overcome. Rachel Hollis. The Difference Between Fear and Danger. A crucial insight for courageous action is learning to distinguish between fear as a feeling and actual danger. Danger is real and immediate. It requires you to protect yourself, for example, by leaving a hazardous environment or seeking help. Fear, in contrast, often arises from imagined scenarios or future possibilities. When you feel fear about starting a new project, it's not because your life is threatened, but because your mind is anticipating possible negative outcomes. This distinction matters because responding to fear as if it were danger keeps you stuck in a cycle of avoidance. Instead, when you recognize that what you're feeling is fear, you can pause and assess the reality of the situation. Is this really dangerous, or is it uncomfortable but manageable? You might find that the worst case isn't so bad, or that you have the resources to handle it. In fact, learning to reframe fear as excitement or energy can change your experience entirely. The physiological signals of fear, increased heart rate, rapid breathing, are identical to those of excitement. By telling yourself you are excited instead of scared, you harness that energy to fuel action. This simple mental shift can turn fear from a barrier into a bridge. Fear and excitement are the same emotion, the difference is how you interpret it. Tim Ferriss. Common fears that block action. Fear is a complex emotion with many faces, and it can stop you from taking the very steps that lead to growth. Here are the most common fears that block action, along with a closer look at why they're so powerful. Fear of failure, often the biggest barrier. This fear is rooted in our desire to avoid disappointment, embarrassment, or loss. It can make you procrastinate or abandon goals before trying. But failure is a natural part of learning and success. Each failure contains valuable lessons that refine your path. Fear of rejection, whether social, professional, or creative, the fear that others will judge or reject you can silence your voice and limit your actions. Remember, rejection is often about fit, not your worth. Fear of uncertainty, not knowing exactly what will happen can cause anxiety. This fear can prevent you from starting because you want all the answers up front. However, uncertainty is where creativity and discovery thrive. Fear of success, surprisingly, some fear that achieving their goals will bring change that disrupts their current life, new responsibilities, expectations, or scrutiny. This fear can keep you stuck in familiar patterns. Fear of inadequacy, doubting your abilities or worthiness can erode confidence. This inner critic makes you believe you're not enough to achieve your dreams. Knowing your particular fears helps you confront them directly. It also normalizes these feelings because everyone experiences them, even the most successful people. How fear can be your ally. The most courageous people don't lack fear. They use it as fuel. Fear tells you that you're stepping into new territory where growth happens. It signals that what you're about to do matters deeply to you. Instead of shrinking away, lean into the discomfort. Facing fear builds resilience, the psychological muscle that lets you bounce back stronger from setbacks. Each time you take action despite fear, you prove to yourself that fear is not an absolute barrier. This repeated practice diminishes fear's hold and replaces it with confidence. Fear can also increase your focus and awareness. The surge of adrenaline it produces heightens your senses and sharpens your thinking, which can improve performance under pressure. So next time fear arises, see it as a signpost pointing toward growth. You can't grow without stretching, and stretching naturally involves discomfort. Fear becomes your ally when you use it to propel you forward rather than freeze you in place. Courage is not the absence of fear but the triumph over it. Nelson Mandela. Practical strategies to overcome fear and take action. Fear can be managed and overcome with deliberate practice. Here are strategies to help you move forward. 1. Name your fear. Writing down your fears externalizes them and makes them less nebulous. When fear is specific, it's easier to address. 2. Visualize the worst-case scenario. Imagine the worst possible outcome clearly. Often, this process reveals that even the worst case is survivable. Planning your response builds confidence. 3. Take small steps. Break your goals into micro-actions. Small wins build momentum and make fear more manageable. 4. Practice mindfulness. Use meditation, deep breathing, or body scans to ground yourself in the present moment. This reduces anxiety about future uncertainties. 5. Reframe fear as excitement. Use the physiological signs of fear to boost your energy and enthusiasm for the challenge ahead. 6. Seek support. Talk about your fears with mentors, friends, or support groups. Verbalizing fears reduces their power and connects you to encouragement. By integrating these techniques, you shift from being controlled by fear to mastering it. Real-life stories of courageous action. History and everyday life abound with examples of people who acted despite fear and changed their world. Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx, started her billion-dollar company after repeated rejections and constant self-doubt. Instead of quitting, she took every no as a challenge to improve. Nelson Mandela faced decades of imprisonment but never let fear silence his fight for justice. His courage inspired a nation to transform. On a personal level, recall a time when you acted despite fear, maybe your first presentation or a difficult conversation. These moments prove that fear is temporary, but action builds lasting strength. Reflective exercises. 1. Fear inventory. Write down your top 3 fears connected to your goals. For each, articulate the specific fear and then detail a plan or mindset shift to address it. 2. Small fear challenge. This week, identify one fear and commit to a small action that challenges it. Reflect on how you feel before, during, and after. 3. Mindful breathing practice. Set aside 5 minutes daily to practice deep breathing or meditation, especially when fear arises. Observe how this affects your response. 4. Fear reframe journal. Every time fear appears, write it down. Then rewrite the thought as excitement, opportunity, or curiosity. Final words. Your courage begins now. Fear will always be a part of the journey, but it doesn't have to stop you. Courage grows through repeated choice, choosing to act even when fear is present. Your greatest growth and transformation lie just beyond the edge of your fear. Today, commit to stepping into your power. The first step may be uncomfortable, but it's the most important step toward the life you want. Quote, "The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear." Nelson Mandela. Chapter 3. Building momentum, turning small steps into big change. Introduction. Why momentum matters. Momentum is the secret sauce that turns intention into reality. You've probably experienced it before, when you start a project and, initially, every step feels like a struggle. But once you get going, things start to flow naturally, and progress accelerates. That's momentum at work. It's the cumulative power of consistent action, turning small efforts into lasting, significant change. Imagine pushing a heavy boulder. At first, it barely moves, your muscles strain, and doubt creeps in. But the more you push, the faster and easier it rolls. Momentum works the same way with your goals and habits. Early resistance is normal, but if you keep pushing, your energy grows, obstacles diminish, and progress feels effortless. This chapter is about how to ignite and sustain that forward motion. You'll learn why momentum matters, how to build it through small wins, why consistency beats intensity, and how to keep going even when the initial excitement fades. If you want to create lasting change, mastering momentum is essential. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Lao Tzu. The science behind momentum. Momentum isn't just a catchy metaphor, it has a basis in neuroscience and psychology. When you take action, even a tiny step toward your goal, your brain rewards you with dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and motivation. This creates a positive feedback loop. Action leads to reward, which increases motivation to continue. On the flip side, when you don't act, dopamine levels stay low and motivation wanes. That's why starting is often the hardest part. Your brain hasn't yet linked the activity to reward. Physically, momentum in motion means that once something is moving, it requires less force to keep it moving. The same principle applies mentally. Once you build momentum, the inertia of progress helps you sustain effort with less resistance. Understanding the science helps reframe how you approach your goals. You don't need massive breakthroughs from the get-go, you need steady, repeated actions that train your brain to crave progress. Starting small, the power of tiny wins. One of the biggest traps is waiting for the right moment to make big leaps, which often leads to procrastination. The antidote? Start ridiculously small. If your goal is to run 5 kilometers, begin by walking 5 minutes a day. If you want to write a book, start with a single sentence. These tiny wins are powerful because they build confidence. Small successes prove to yourself that you can do it. They reduce overwhelm. Big goals can feel paralyzing, tiny actions feel doable. They create positive habits. Your brain learns to associate the task with accomplishment. These tiny wins snowball. After writing one sentence, you might write a paragraph. After walking 5 minutes, you might feel inspired to walk 10. The key is to break down your goals into micro-actions that feel easy to do daily. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. Robert Collier. Consistency over intensity, making progress every day. Many believe they need to work hard for hours in one intense session to make real progress. But research shows that consistency beats intensity when it comes to lasting change. Consistent small actions develop habits which require less conscious effort over time. Habits operate on autopilot, freeing your mind from decision fatigue and willpower depletion. This is why showing up every day, even briefly, is more effective than sporadic bursts of effort. For example, reading 10 pages daily leads to finishing several books a year. Exercising for 10 minutes daily builds stamina better than 1 2-hour workout per week for most people. The magic lies in daily repetition, which trains your brain and body. Aim to build habits that you can realistically sustain long-term, then gradually increase the intensity as momentum builds. Overcoming plateaus and setbacks. Even with momentum, you will encounter plateaus, periods where progress stalls, and setbacks such as failures or distractions. These moments test your commitment and can be discouraging. Plateaus often occur because your brain is adjusting to the new behavior or because initial gains were quick wins that naturally level off. Setbacks might include missing a day, facing criticism, or encountering obstacles. When this happens, reframe the plateau as a sign of consolidation. Your brain and body are adapting. Review and adjust your goals. Maybe they need to be tweaked for better fit. Practice self-compassion. Avoid harsh self-judgment. Instead, remind yourself that setbacks are part of the process. Focus on restarting rather than perfection. Missing a day doesn't erase progress. Start fresh the next day. Remember Winston Churchill's words, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal, it is the courage to continue that counts." Tools and techniques to sustain momentum. Maintaining momentum requires deliberate strategies. Here are practical tools to help. Habit stacking. Attach a new habit to an existing routine. For example, after brushing your teeth, write one sentence in your journal. This leverages existing habits to build new ones. Visual progress tracking. Use journals, apps, or charts to record your progress. Seeing visual evidence of your efforts fuels motivation. Accountability partners. Share your goals with a friend or coach who can encourage you and check in regularly. Celebrate small wins. Take time to acknowledge your achievements, no matter how small. This releases dopamine and reinforces positive behavior. Micro-deadlines. Break your goals into short-term targets to maintain focus and create urgency. Using these techniques consistently helps keep the momentum wheel turning, even when motivation dips. Real-life examples of momentum in action. Consider James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, who built his success by consistently sharing bite-sized insights on habits and behavior. He didn't become an expert overnight. He developed his craft through daily, focused effort over years. Another example is the story of a novice runner who starts with walking 5 minutes daily. Over months, these small increments build endurance and confidence, culminating in a completed 5K race. Their momentum transforms a casual goal into a life-changing habit. Every day, countless people build momentum in small, unseen ways, whether learning a language by practicing 5 minutes a day or improving their diet one meal at a time. The secret is persistent, incremental progress. Reflective exercises. 1. Identify your tiny win. What is one small, manageable action you can take today toward your biggest goal? Write it down and commit to it. 2. Create a habit stack. Choose one existing daily habit and attach a new positive action to it. For example, after your morning coffee, spend 2 minutes planning your day. 3. Track your progress. Set up a simple chart, journal, or app to log your daily efforts for the next 30 days. Review it weekly to celebrate growth. 4. Plan for setbacks. List potential obstacles you might face and brainstorm how you will respond without losing momentum. Final words, keep the ball rolling. Building momentum is about more than just action, it's about consistent, purposeful effort that compounds over time. Every small step forward is a victory that sets the stage for bigger breakthroughs. You don't need to start perfect or strong, you only need to start. Then keep going. The power of momentum lies in its cumulative effect. Start today, no matter how small, and watch as your efforts gather speed and transform your life. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. Mark Twain. Chapter 4. Setting Clear Goals, the Roadmap to Effective Action. Introduction, the foundation of success. Every great achievement begins with a clear goal. Imagine setting out on a journey without knowing your destination. It's easy to get lost, distracted, or even give up altogether. Goals act as the compass that points you in the right direction. They provide clarity, focus, and motivation to keep moving forward even when obstacles arise. When your goals are vague or undefined, your efforts often become scattered and ineffective. You might find yourself busy but not productive, moving without momentum. Clear goals create a framework for decision-making and prioritize your actions. They help you identify what's important and discard what isn't. Moreover, goals give meaning to your daily activities. Instead of drifting aimlessly, each action becomes purposeful and connected to a bigger vision. When you wake up with a clear goal in mind, you begin your day energized and focused, ready to take the next step toward your dreams. Understanding the power of clarity in goals. Clarity is more than just knowing what you want, it's about painting a vivid mental picture of your desired outcome. The brain craves specifics because they activate your planning centers and create a psychological roadmap. Consider the difference between saying, "I want to be successful," versus, "I will launch my first business website by July 31st. The latter defines success with precise details, deadlines, and measurable outcomes. This clarity enables your brain to break the goal into smaller chunks and start strategizing. Clarity also reduces overwhelm, which is a common reason people procrastinate or quit. A vague goal feels like an insurmountable mountain. A clear goal is a series of small, manageable hills. Each hill you climb builds confidence and keeps you moving forward. Think of clarity as the flashlight in a dark cave. Without it, you stumble and hesitate. With it, every step forward is sure and confident. The brain on goals. How your mind supports your success. Science tells us that our brains are wired for goal pursuit. When you set a clear goal, your brain's prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for planning, decision-making, and self-control, becomes active. It helps you organize your thoughts, create strategies, and suppress distractions. Additionally, as you make progress, your brain releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter linked to pleasure and reward. This chemical motivates you to keep moving forward by making goal-directed behavior feel satisfying. Even small achievements like checking off a task release dopamine and boost motivation. Writing down your goals amplifies this effect. It engages both conscious and subconscious processes. When goals are written, your brain treats them like promises, increasing commitment and accountability. Goal setting also primes your brain to notice opportunities and resources that can help you succeed. It's like your mind starts scanning the environment for clues and tools aligned with your goals, often without you realizing it. SMART goals. Crafting your blueprint for action. The SMART framework, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, is a proven method to create effective goals. Let's explore each component in detail. Specific. Defining your target clearly. A specific goal leaves no room for ambiguity. It answers the questions: what exactly do you want to accomplish? Who is involved? Where will it happen? Why is it important? For example, instead of, "I want to get fit," a specific goal might be, "I will attend yoga classes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the next 3 months." This precision helps you visualize the path and focus your efforts. Measurable, tracking your progress and success. A measurable goal provides criteria to evaluate progress. It answers, how will you know when the goal is achieved? What metrics will you use? For instance, "I want to read more" becomes measurable as, "I will read 1 book per month." This clarity allows you to celebrate milestones and stay motivated. Achievable, setting realistic yet challenging goals. Your goals should stretch your abilities but remain attainable. Setting unrealistic goals can lead to discouragement, while achievable goals build confidence and momentum. If you're new to running, setting a goal to complete a marathon in 1 month may be too ambitious. Instead, a 5K race in 3 months is a more achievable stepping stone. Relevant, aligning with your values and priorities. Goals aligned with your values fuel intrinsic motivation. Ask yourself, does this goal matter to me? Will it contribute to my long-term vision? A goal to learn photography might be relevant if creativity is important to you, but less so if your priority is career advancement in finance. Time-bound, creating deadlines to foster urgency. Deadlines create urgency and focus. Without a time frame, goals can drift indefinitely. Instead of "I want to write a book someday," commit to "I will complete the first draft by December 31st. Time limits spark action and help you plan backward from the deadline. Breaking it down, the power of small, consistent steps. Large goals can be intimidating, causing procrastination or paralysis. The key is to break them down into manageable, bite-sized steps that you can complete regularly. For example, if your goal is to start a blog, your first small steps might be: 1. Research your niche. 2. Choose a blogging platform. 3. Write your first post. These microgoals build momentum and confidence. Each step feels doable, reducing overwhelm and creating a sense of accomplishment. Small wins are powerful motivators because they provide instant feedback and dopamine boosts. Over time, consistent small actions compound into significant progress. Prioritizing your goals, focus, and discipline. Many people struggle because they try to chase too many goals at once. Spreading yourself thin leads to burnout and little meaningful progress. Prioritization means choosing the goals that will have the most impact on your life right now. Use tools like the Eisenhower matrix to categorize tasks by urgency and importance, helping you focus on what truly matters. Regularly review your goals and ask, which goal aligns most with my long-term vision? What will bring me the greatest satisfaction or benefit? Which goal is feasible given my current resources? Focus on a few high-impact goals and devote your energy there. This disciplined approach ensures your actions have maximum effect. Flexibility, embracing change and adjusting goals. Life is unpredictable. Sometimes circumstances change or you grow in ways that shift your priorities. Being flexible with your goals is essential to long-term success. Review your goals regularly. If a goal no longer fits your values or circumstances, adjust or replace it. Flexibility allows you to stay motivated and aligned rather than rigidly stuck. For example, if you aim to train for a marathon but suffered an injury, you might shift your goal to swimming or cycling until you recover. This keeps you moving forward rather than stalled. Remember, the goal is progress, not perfection. Writing it down, the commitment device. Writing your goals on paper or digitally is more than an organizational tool, it's a commitment device that signals to your brain you're serious. Keep a dedicated goal journal or planner. Use apps to track progress and set reminders. Revisit your goals daily or weekly to reinforce commitment and adjust as necessary. Sharing your goals with a friend, mentor, or coach increases accountability. When someone else knows your goals, you're more likely to take consistent action. Avoiding common goal-setting mistakes. Many well-intentioned people stumble because of avoidable errors. Setting too many goals and losing focus. Writing vague, unmeasurable goals. Choosing goals that don't resonate personally. Waiting for the perfect moment to start. Failing to track progress or celebrate wins. Awareness of these pitfalls allows you to sidestep them and maintain steady momentum. Sarah's story, a journey from overwhelm to accomplishment. Sarah dreamed of writing a novel but felt overwhelmed by the sheer size of the project. She applied goal-setting techniques. Set a clear, SMART goal, write 500 words every weekday for 6 months. Broke the goal into daily writing sessions. Scheduled writing first thing in the morning. Adapted her plan when life got busy, writing shorter pieces instead of skipping. Tracked progress with a journal. Shared her goal with a local writing group. 6 months later, Sarah had completed her first draft. She learned that clarity, small steps, and consistency beat perfection and procrastination every time. Exercises, your path to clear goals. 1. Write your SMART goal. Craft a goal following the specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound framework. 2. Break it down. List 5 actionable steps that will move you closer to your goal. 3. Prioritize. Identify your top 3 goals and rank them by importance. 4. Commit in writing. Place your written goals somewhere visible. 5. Plan regular reviews. Set monthly reminders to assess and refine your goals. Conclusion. Clarity unlocks action and achievement. Clear goals are the foundation of all meaningful action. They provide focus, motivation, and a roadmap through challenges. By setting specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals, breaking them down, prioritizing, staying flexible, and committing in writing, you empower yourself to take powerful action every day. Setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. Tony Robbins. Chapter 5. Overcoming fear, turning obstacles into opportunities. Fear is a universal human experience. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care if you're wealthy or poor, educated or uneducated, experienced or just starting out. Fear meets everyone at the threshold of something meaningful. Whether you're applying for a job, launching a business, ending a relationship, or simply speaking your truth, fear is there. Sometimes it shouts. More often it whispers. But always it invites a decision. Will you freeze or will you move forward? Fear doesn't only show up in dangerous situations. It often emerges in the seemingly ordinary. Hitting send on an important email, sharing your artwork, asking for help, telling someone you love them. These are not life-threatening acts, yet our bodies sometimes react as though they are. That's because fear is a primal instinct. It's rooted in the very system that evolved to keep us alive, the limbic system of the brain, and more specifically, the amygdala. This tiny, almond-shaped structure is your internal alarm system. It scans for threats and triggers fight, flight, or freeze. But the amygdala doesn't know the difference between a wild animal and a judgmental glance. In both cases, your heart rate increases, your breathing becomes shallow, and your body prepares to escape, even when there's no real danger. This system was once critical to human survival. In the wild, we needed to react instantly to threats. But in the modern world, those threats are rarely physical. They're emotional, social, and psychological. And because of this mismatch, we often avoid taking action, not because we're lazy or incapable, but because we're afraid. What's tricky about fear is that it rarely introduces itself as fear. It comes disguised in many forms: procrastination, perfectionism, endless preparation, and even busyness. Think about the times you've said, "I just need to do a bit more research," or "It's not the right time yet." More often than not, those are rational-sounding ways to avoid something deeper: discomfort, risk, visibility, or failure. Fear wants you to stay where it's safe. It prefers certainty over progress. It prefers stagnation over transformation. But here's the truth. All growth happens outside the comfort zone. You cannot evolve without friction. That discomfort you feel is the price of your next breakthrough. To make fear your ally, you first have to name it. There are 6 core fears that hold most people back. The fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of success, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown, and fear of not being enough. Each of these fears operates subtly but powerfully. Let's begin with the fear of failure. This is perhaps the most common. People hesitate to act because they're afraid they'll fall short, make mistakes, or face public embarrassment. But failure is rarely fatal, it's often formative. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. When asked about it, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Failure is feedback. It is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. Next is the fear of rejection. This fear stems from our deep need to belong. Rejection hurts not just emotionally but neurologically. Studies show that the brain processes social rejection in the same area as physical pain. That's why we avoid it at all costs. But rejection doesn't reflect your value. It reflects a mismatch of fit, timing, or readiness. Every no brings you closer to a yes. What you must ask is, would I rather be temporarily uncomfortable or permanently unfulfilled? Then there's the fear of success, an unexpected one. People fear success because it brings attention, expectations, and pressure. It challenges their identity and comfort zone. What if I can't keep it up? Or what if success changes me? But success doesn't require you to be perfect. It requires you to be present. You will grow into the person who can handle the next level by showing up for it, not by waiting until you're fully ready. The fear of judgment is also paralyzing. What will people think? Will they laugh? Will they criticize me? This fear keeps people from speaking, creating, or taking bold action. But the truth is, most people are too busy with their own fears to judge yours. And if they do judge, that says more about them than about you. You were not born to live quietly just to please people who aren't even paying attention. Fear of the unknown is about uncertainty. It's the discomfort of not knowing what's next, of stepping into a world without a clear map. But every dream lives on the other side of the unknown. If you wait for guarantees, you'll never move. And finally, the fear of not being enough. This fear whispers, who are you to do this? You're not smart enough. Not skilled enough. Not talented enough. But this voice is not truth, it's history. It's your past trying to write your future. So how do we move through fear? First, reframe it. Fear is not a stop sign, it's a signal. It tells you that what you're about to do matters. If you weren't invested, you wouldn't be afraid. Instead of saying, I'm scared, try saying, I'm stretching. Use the discomfort as confirmation that you're growing. Second, act anyway. Action is the antidote to fear. You don't need to eliminate fear to move forward, you just need to prove to yourself that you can act despite it. Start small. Take micro-actions that build momentum. Speak up in a small meeting. Launch a blog post. Set up the first meeting for your business idea. Each step builds courage like a muscle. Real-life examples show us the power of this approach. Consider Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. With no background in fashion or business, she started with $5,000 and an idea. She faced rejection after rejection, but her belief was stronger than her fear. Today, she's one of the world's most successful female entrepreneurs. Or think of Will Smith, who once described skydiving as pure terror until he jumped. The best things in life, he said, are on the other side of fear. Want to test this in your own life? Try this exercise, make a fear list. Write down 5 things you're avoiding. Then next to each one, list the worst-case scenario, the best-case scenario, and the most likely scenario. Often, you'll realize that the worst case is manageable and the best case is worth the risk. Then pick one and take action, no matter how small. Another tool is to keep a fear journal. At the end of each day, reflect, what scared me today? What did I do anyway? How did it feel? What did I learn? Over time, you'll see the pattern. Fear fades when you face it. Also try this reframing prompt. I'm afraid of ____ because _____. But I choose to act because _____. Writing this out daily rewires your nervous system to associate fear with purpose, not paralysis. Remember, courage is not a personality trait. It's a behavior. You earn it by acting over and over again. And the more you act, the less fear controls you. So let's finish with this. What dream are you putting off because of fear? What decision are you delaying? What truth are you afraid to tell? You can wait for the fear to go away, or you can walk through it. Because the treasure you seek is still waiting on the other side. Chapter 6. Building Consistency, the Secret to Long-Term Success. Consistency is the engine that powers real transformation. Unlike the excitement of sudden inspiration or big breakthroughs, consistency is the slow, steady force that quietly builds the life you want. It's the daily commitment to small, intentional actions, regardless of mood, obstacles, or distractions, that ultimately creates lasting success. Without it, even the best ideas and goals remain dreams. This chapter reveals why consistency beats motivation, how to build powerful habits, design your environment, navigate challenges, and stay accountable as you build momentum toward your greatest ambitions. Why consistency matters more than motivation. Motivation feels good. It's energizing and inspiring, but it is unreliable. It's like lightning, brilliant and powerful in flashes, but impossible to predict or depend on. Many people wait to feel motivated before starting a project or working toward a goal, only to find the feeling fades quickly, leaving them stuck. Consistency is different. It's a choice to show up even when you don't feel like it, when life gets messy, or when distractions call. Consistency transforms intention into reality by creating a reliable pattern of behavior. Neuroscience shows that the brain thrives on routines because they save mental energy. This means that consistent actions become easier over time as your brain automates them. Research on behavior change confirms that progress comes not from giant leaps but from tiny, repeated steps. The idea of compound interest applies perfectly. Small improvements accumulate exponentially, often unnoticed day to day, but monumental over months and years. Consistency is the steady push that makes success inevitable. The science of habit formation. Habits are the biological foundation of consistency. When an action is repeated regularly, your brain builds neural pathways that encode it as automatic behavior. This habit loop consists of 3 stages: the cue, the routine, and the reward. For example, the cue could be finishing breakfast, the routine is writing for 5 minutes, and the reward is the feeling of accomplishment or satisfaction. This loop strengthens with repetition, eventually making the action effortless and habitual. Forming habits isn't instantaneous. Studies show it takes an average of 66 days for new behaviors to become automatic, but this varies with complexity and individual factors. The key to habit formation is making the routine easy and the reward satisfying, which motivates your brain to repeat it. By consciously creating habits aligned with your goals, you harness this powerful neurological process to build consistency effortlessly. Designing your environment for success. Your environment shapes your behavior more than you realize. It can either enable or undermine your efforts. If your surroundings are cluttered, distracting, or tempt you toward old habits, staying consistent becomes an uphill battle. To build consistency, design your environment intentionally. Remove distractions and temptations that derail your progress. For example, if you want to cut back on social media, delete the apps from your phone or set usage limits. Simultaneously, make your desired habits easier by reducing friction. Place workout clothes where you can see them, keep your journal or laptop on your desk, or prepare healthy snacks in advance. These small adjustments remove barriers and increase the likelihood of consistent action. This strategy leverages your environment as an ally, turning willpower from a limited resource into a dependable system that supports your goals every day. The power of tiny actions. Big goals can feel overwhelming. The thought of writing a whole book, running a marathon, or launching a business can cause paralysis. Consistency breaks these giant goals into manageable, bite-sized actions that are easier to start and sustain. Even committing to just 2 minutes a day can create momentum. Starting small lowers resistance, allowing you to build confidence and experience success early. This approach aligns with the concept of keystone habits, small habits that trigger positive changes in other areas of life. For example, a habit of making your bed can lead to better organization and productivity. The goal isn't perfection but progress. Tiny actions compound, creating unstoppable momentum over time. Overcoming obstacles to consistency. Challenges and setbacks are inevitable. Life throws curveballs that disrupt routines and test resolve. To build consistency, you must anticipate obstacles and prepare strategies to overcome them. A major enemy is all-or-nothing thinking. This mindset says, if I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. Such thinking causes guilt, frustration, and eventually quitting. Instead, adopt progress over perfection. Celebrate any effort, no matter how small, and use setbacks as learning opportunities. Lack of clear goals also sabotages consistency. Vague aspirations like get fit or write more lack direction. Use SMART criteria, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound, to clarify your goals and create a roadmap. Time scarcity is another common challenge. Everyone has 24 hours, the difference is in how priorities are managed. Scheduling your habits as non-negotiable appointments and eliminating time wasters can free up space for consistent action. The role of accountability and support. No one succeeds alone. Humans are wired for social connection, and accountability is a powerful motivator. When someone else cares about your progress, you're more likely to follow through. Accountability can take many forms: a workout buddy, a mentor, a coach, or a supportive online group. Regular check-ins create external pressure that supports your internal motivation. Sharing your goals publicly, even on social media, increases your commitment. The desire to avoid embarrassment or disappointing others pushes you to stay consistent. Support systems also provide encouragement and advice during tough times, helping you maintain momentum. Tracking progress, measuring and celebrating small wins. Tracking your progress transforms vague intentions into measurable achievements. Use journals, apps, or calendars to record each small action toward your goals. Seeing progress visually reinforces your commitment and motivates you to keep going. It also helps identify patterns, strengths, and areas needing adjustment. Celebrate every small victory, completing a workout, writing a page, or sticking to a healthy meal. These celebrations release dopamine, boosting motivation and reinforcing your habits. This positive feedback loop turns consistency into a rewarding, enjoyable experience. Consistency and identity, becoming the person you want to be. Consistency shapes your self-image. When you regularly act in alignment with your goals, you start identifying as the kind of person who embodies those behaviors. For example, consistently writing daily helps you see yourself as a writer. Consistently practicing kindness shapes you as a compassionate person. This identity-based motivation is more powerful and lasting than goal-oriented motivation alone. Shift your focus from "I want to do this" to "I am the kind of person who does this." This subtle shift builds resilience, helping you overcome setbacks and maintain consistency. Real-life examples of consistency in action. Look at Stephen King, who commits to writing 2,000 words daily regardless of mood, building a prolific career through daily discipline. Warren Buffett spends hours daily reading and making steady investment decisions, growing wealth patiently over decades. Serena Williams practiced relentlessly, repeating the same drills thousands of times, turning consistency into legendary skill. These examples reveal that success is built not on fleeting bursts of effort but on long-term commitment to consistent action. Exercises for building consistency. 1. Start small, choose one habit, break it into the smallest step, and commit to doing it daily for 1 week. 2. Environmental audit. Remove distractions and arrange your space to make your desired habit easier. 3. Progress tracking. Record your daily habit in a journal or app. Review weekly. 4. Find accountability. Partner with a friend or group for weekly check-ins. 5. Identity affirmation. Write a statement like, "I am someone who," and repeat it daily to reinforce your new identity. Inspirational quotes on consistency. Success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success. Greatness will come. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Small disciplines repeated with consistency every day lead to great achievements gained slowly over time. John C. Maxwell. It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. Confucius. Building consistency is the most profound gift you can give yourself on the journey to success. It requires patience, kindness, and the courage to keep going despite setbacks. But as you cultivate consistency, you transform from a dreamer into a doer, from a hope-filled planner into a results-driven achiever. Keep showing up. Your future self will thank you. Chapter 7. Overcoming fear and doubt, courage to take the leap. Fear and doubt are universal experiences that affect everyone, regardless of age, background, or achievement level. These emotions act as invisible forces that often prevent us from starting, progressing, or completing meaningful endeavors. Understanding their nature is the first crucial step to disarming their power. Fear is an ancient biological mechanism programmed to protect you from harm by triggering the fight, flight, or freeze response. When your brain detects a perceived threat, whether real or imagined, it activates the amygdala and floods your body with adrenaline and cortisol. This physiological alarm is designed to sharpen your senses and prepare you to react quickly. However, in the modern world, the threats you face are usually social, emotional, or psychological, public speaking, risking failure, or facing rejection, rather than physical danger. This mismatch between ancient biology and contemporary challenges often results in disproportionate anxiety or paralysis, making fear feel overwhelming and insurmountable. Doubt, while less physical, is equally impactful. It operates within your mental landscape as persistent, nagging questions about your worth, your capability, and your chances of success. Doubt is often born from past failures, critical voices from others, or internalized beliefs about what you deserve. It is a subtle but powerful force that undermines confidence and encourages inaction. Unlike fear, which triggers immediate physiological reactions, doubt slowly erodes your motivation by fostering uncertainty and hesitation. Together, fear and doubt create a powerful feedback loop. Fear causes you to hesitate or avoid action, while doubt convinces you that avoidance is justified because you are not ready or not good enough. This loop can trap you indefinitely in a comfort zone prison where safety is prioritized over growth and potential remains unrealized. Shifting your perspective on fear and doubt is transformative. Instead of seeing these emotions as stop signs, it helps to reframe them as signals that you are approaching the edge of your comfort zone, the exact place where growth and transformation occur. Fear, in this new light, becomes a guide rather than a barrier. For example, the fear you feel before learning a new skill like public speaking or entrepreneurship is your mind's way of alerting you to the significance of this challenge. It is an indication that the outcome matters deeply and that you are expanding your capabilities. Recognizing this helps to reduce the power fear holds because it is no longer an enemy but a messenger inviting you to rise to the occasion. Similarly, doubt is a signpost reflecting uncertainty, not truth. When you understand doubt this way, you can learn to question it rather than be paralyzed by it. Fear and doubt can manifest in many subtle ways in everyday life. Procrastination, for instance, is often a direct result of fear. The mind's attempt to delay uncomfortable feelings. Perfectionism, another common manifestation, stems from doubt and the need to control outcomes before committing to action. Overplanning without execution, self-sabotage through distraction, or negative self-talk, all these are ways your mind tries to avoid the discomfort associated with stepping into the unknown. Recognizing these patterns within yourself is crucial because awareness creates choice. You can't change what you don't notice. Start by observing when and how fear and doubt show up in your decision-making, your emotions, and your behaviors. Notice whether you freeze, run away, fight against your fears, or become immobilized. These are all natural responses shaped by your unique history and temperament. One of the most overlooked fear responses is the freeze reaction, where your body and mind become immobilized in the face of perceived threat. While fight or flight prepare you to take action, freeze causes temporary paralysis. This often happens when fear overwhelms your coping resources. Physically, you might feel numb, disconnected, or stuck. Mentally, you might find it impossible to decide or act. Understanding this reaction helps because it demystifies why you sometimes feel frozen and offers practical ways to unfreeze yourself. Techniques like deep breathing, grounding exercises such as focusing on the sensations of your feet on the ground, or gentle physical movement can help regulate your nervous system, shifting you from freeze to active engagement. Rather than trying to eliminate fear, which is impossible and unhealthy, your goal should be to develop a new relationship with it. Fear can become a catalyst for growth when you learn to act despite its presence. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move forward in spite of it. This mindset is empowering because it acknowledges the discomfort but refuses to be controlled by it. Taking even the smallest action in the face of fear builds your courage muscle. Over time, repeated exposure to fear-inducing situations expands your comfort zone, making previously daunting challenges manageable. For example, someone terrified of networking might begin by simply attending a small social event and introducing themselves to one person. That small step builds confidence and lays the foundation for bigger leaps. Central to overcoming doubt is cultivating a growth mindset, a concept pioneered by psychologist Carol Dweck. People with a fixed mindset believe their talents and intelligence are innate and unchangeable, leading them to avoid challenges for fear of failure. In contrast, those with a growth mindset see their abilities as developable through effort, learning, and persistence. This mindset shift changes how you view mistakes, from evidence of inadequacy to valuable feedback that guides improvement. Alongside this, practicing self-compassion, treating yourself with the same kindness you would offer a friend facing fear, reduces the harshness of doubt. When negative thoughts arise, challenge them by asking, "Is this true, and what evidence do I have to support or refute this?" Replace doubts with affirmations like, "I am capable of learning and growing," or "Every step forward builds my strength." The stories of those who have overcome fear and doubt to achieve greatness are inspiring proof that courage is not about being fearless but about persevering through fear. Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx, faced numerous rejections and financial uncertainty, but believed deeply in her product and vision. Her willingness to take action despite fear transformed a simple idea into a global business. Similarly, Elon Musk's ventures into electric cars and private space exploration were riddled with skepticism, technical challenges, and financial risks. His courage and persistence pushed industries to innovate and redefine possibility. These examples show that courage is less about innate bravery and more about consistent action despite uncertainty. Building a supportive community is also vital in overcoming fear and doubt. Sharing your goals and fears with trusted friends, mentors, or groups creates accountability and reduces the isolation that often fuels anxiety. Support systems offer encouragement when your resolve weakens and provide perspective when doubts grow loud. Knowing that others have faced similar fears and succeeded can be a powerful motivator. Practical exercises can accelerate your journey toward courageous action. Begin by listing your specific fears related to your goals, then write a rational response or a plan to face each one. Commit to a small action step on the easiest fear within 24 hours to build momentum. Keep a daily journal reflecting on when fear or doubt arises and how you respond. Spend a few minutes daily visualizing yourself succeeding despite fear, engaging all your senses to create a vivid mental experience. Repeat affirmations that counter your doubts and remind yourself of your strengths. Finally, regularly connect with your support network for encouragement and feedback. Inspirational quotes serve as reminders when fear threatens to overwhelm. Nelson Mandela's insight, "Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it," captures the essence of this process beautifully. Similarly, Susan Jeffers' encouragement to feel the fear and do it anyway invites you to take action as a practice, not a destination. In sum, fear and doubt are not enemies but invitations to growth and self-discovery. When you learn to recognize and engage with them skillfully, you build resilience, confidence, and the courage necessary to pursue your most meaningful goals. The power of taking action lies in embracing these uncomfortable emotions and moving forward anyway. Your greatest achievements are waiting just beyond the boundary of fear. Take that leap and claim your power. Chapter 8. Building Momentum, the Power of Consistency and Small Wins. In the journey of taking action, momentum is a force that often separates those who achieve lasting success from those who falter or give up. It's easy to feel inspired in the beginning when ideas are fresh, energy is high, and the path ahead seems clear. Yet, as time passes, initial enthusiasm can fade, distractions multiply, and obstacles arise that challenge your resolve. Momentum is what carries you through these challenging periods, turning small, consistent efforts into a steady, unstoppable forward movement. Understanding how to build and maintain momentum is essential to converting your goals into reality and transforming aspirations into lasting achievements. Momentum is not about sudden bursts of intense activity or grand gestures. Rather, it is created through consistency, the habit of showing up and taking action repeatedly day after day. Consistency may sound simple, even mundane, but it is one of the most powerful drivers of success. Consider any skill or achievement worth having, whether mastering a musical instrument, developing a healthy lifestyle, or building a business, and you will find that it was built through small steps taken regularly. The brain responds positively to this repetition. Neural pathways strengthen as you repeat actions, making it easier to perform tasks and reducing the energy required over time. This neurological foundation means that what once felt difficult or uncomfortable becomes easier and eventually automatic. Building momentum transforms the act of taking action from a struggle into a natural part of your daily life. Small wins are the fuel that keeps momentum alive. These incremental victories, no matter how minor they seem, play an outsized role in motivation and emotional well-being. According to psychologist Teresa Amabel's research on workplace creativity and motivation, making even small progress on meaningful work each day dramatically improves mood, boosts confidence, and increases the likelihood of sustained effort. This phenomenon, known as the progress principle, applies to all areas of life. Each completed task, every healthy meal chosen, each page written, or phone call made represents a step forward. Celebrating these moments is not about complacency or settling for less. It's about acknowledging that growth happens one step at a time. Recognizing small wins provides psychological rewards that release dopamine, the brain's feel-good neurotransmitter, creating a positive feedback loop that encourages continued action. Over time, this pattern builds an emotional momentum that propels you forward even when external motivation fades. However, building momentum requires more than just doing the right things consistently. It also demands patience and realistic expectations. Many people fall into the trap of expecting immediate results or exponential progress only to feel disheartened when change seems slow or uneven. Progress is rarely a straight line. Instead, it's a path marked by plateaus, setbacks, and periods of slow growth. This unevenness can create frustration or self-doubt, tempting you to give up. The key to sustaining momentum during these challenging times is embracing the long game. Understand that the cumulative effect of small actions repeated over weeks, months, and years compounds exponentially. Like compound interest in finance, tiny consistent investments in yourself and your goals grow into remarkable outcomes. This mindset of patience and persistence allows you to continue showing up even when immediate rewards aren't visible. One of the most effective ways to cultivate consistency and build momentum is by establishing routines and rituals. Habits reduce decision fatigue, the mental exhaustion that comes from making too many choices, and create a predictable framework for action. When behaviors become habitual, they require less conscious effort and willpower, making it easier to maintain progress. Consider a morning routine that includes meditation, exercise, or journaling. Over time, these practices become ingrained, preparing your mind and body for a productive day. Similarly, setting a specific time each day to work on your goal can turn inconsistent bursts of effort into a regular, reliable practice. Routines anchor your intentions in daily life, transforming vague aspirations into concrete habits. Accountability also plays a vital role in building and maintaining momentum. Humans are social creatures, and we naturally respond to external expectations and support. Sharing your goals and progress with a trusted friend, mentor, coach, or peer group creates a layer of responsibility that can propel you forward. Accountability partners encourage you when motivation dips and provide honest feedback that helps you stay on course. Knowing that someone else is aware of your commitments and progress can reduce procrastination and boost resilience during difficult moments. Additionally, celebrating small wins together reinforces the positive momentum and deepens your commitment. Another important mindset to adopt when building momentum is embracing progress over perfection. Perfectionism is a common barrier that disrupts momentum by causing procrastination and self-criticism. When the focus is on flawless outcomes, taking imperfect action becomes difficult, leading to delays and frustration. Instead, shifting your mindset to value continuous improvement and learning encourages you to take consistent steps, even if they are not perfect. Every action, mistake, and iteration is a valuable part of the journey. This approach cultivates resilience and adaptability, enabling you to adjust your course as you gain new insights rather than being derailed by setbacks. Real-world examples illustrate the transformative power of momentum. Consider the story of James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, who emphasizes the idea that habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Clear's own journey demonstrates how tiny daily changes, such as reading just one page or doing a short workout, accumulate into profound life changes over time. Another example is J.K. Rowling, who faced numerous rejections before the Harry Potter series was published. Her persistence and steady progress in writing, despite setbacks, ultimately led to monumental success. These stories remind us that momentum is created through perseverance and consistent action, not overnight miracles. To practically build momentum, start by breaking your larger goals into smaller, actionable steps. This makes progress visible and manageable. Set SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, to create clarity and direction. Track your progress using journals, apps, or checklists to visualize your small wins and reinforce your sense of achievement. Celebrate milestones, no matter how small, to cultivate positive emotions associated with success. Daily reflection is a powerful habit to support momentum. Spend a few minutes each evening reviewing what you accomplished, what challenges you faced, and what you will do tomorrow. This practice increases awareness, keeps you accountable, and helps you adjust your approach as needed. Visualization exercises can also boost momentum by mentally rehearsing success and connecting emotionally with your goals. Inspirational quotes can provide additional encouragement. As Aristotle said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act but a habit. This encapsulates the essence of momentum. Similarly, Tony Robbins reminds us, "It's not what we do once in a while that shapes our lives, but what we do consistently." These words reinforce that greatness is built on the foundation of small, repeated actions. In conclusion, momentum is the secret ingredient that turns dreams into reality. It is created through the consistent practice of small, purposeful actions and fueled by the celebration of incremental progress. By developing supportive routines, seeking accountability, and embracing progress over perfection, you equip yourself to sustain momentum through challenges and setbacks. Momentum transforms effort into achievement and uncertainty into confidence. Harness this power, and your ability to take effective, lasting action will multiply, unlocking the full potential of your dreams and aspirations. Chapter 9. Embracing failure, learning, and growing through setbacks. Failure, often feared and misunderstood, is one of the most profound experiences in the human journey of growth and achievement. Despite its negative reputation, failure is not the antithesis of success. Rather, it is a fundamental and indispensable component of it. The fear of failure is a major psychological barrier that keeps many from taking action. This fear feeds on our desire for security, approval, and perfection, yet it is only by stepping into the arena and risking failure that true progress occurs. To harness the power of taking action, we must radically transform our relationship with failure from viewing it as a definitive end to seeing it as a necessary, instructive milestone on the path to mastery. At the heart of this transformation is the understanding that failure is simply an outcome that diverges from our intentions or expectations. It is an event, not a personal verdict. Society often casts failure in a harsh light, labeling those who fail as incompetent or unworthy. These cultural narratives amplify shame and self-doubt, which can erode confidence and dampen the willingness to try again. To break free from this destructive cycle, it's essential to reframe failure as neutral data, valuable information that reveals what strategies or approaches do not yield desired results. This reframing opens the door to curiosity, learning, and resilience. Emotionally, failure triggers a complex response. Feelings of disappointment, embarrassment, or frustration are natural, but they need not lead to paralysis or retreat. Instead, cultivating a mindset of curiosity allows you to ask empowering questions such as, "What can this failure teach me about my process?" or "How can I adapt my approach to be more effective?" This shift from judgment to inquiry moves failure from being a source of pain to a source of wisdom. One of history's most prolific inventors, Thomas Edison, exemplified this mindset. His thousands of unsuccessful attempts to create the incandescent light bulb were not failures in his eyes, but experiments revealing paths that did not work. His persistence and positive perspective led to an invention that forever changed the world. Fear of failure often arises from two interconnected mindsets, perfectionism and a fixed mindset. Perfectionism is the pursuit of flawlessness and the refusal to accept mistakes, which can lead to procrastination and avoidance due to fear of making errors. A fixed mindset, a term coined by psychologist Carol Dweck, is the belief that intelligence, talent, and ability are innate and unchangeable traits. Individuals with a fixed mindset interpret failure as a reflection of their inherent limitations. In contrast, a growth mindset views failure as a normal, expected part of the learning process, emphasizing effort, strategies, and perseverance as key to development. Adopting a growth mindset is crucial for reframing failure as an opportunity rather than a threat. Experiencing failure also strengthens emotional resilience, the ability to endure adversity and bounce back stronger. Each time you encounter setbacks and choose to continue, you develop psychological grit. This resilience becomes a muscle that grows with use, making future challenges less daunting. When failure no longer signals a catastrophe but rather an opportunity to grow, you reduce fear and increase your willingness to take risks and persist. Resilience is not innate, it is cultivated through intentional practice and mindset shifts. Not all failures are equally beneficial. It is important to differentiate between productive failure and unproductive failure. Productive failure is characterized by thoughtful reflection, learning from mistakes, and making adjustments to improve future outcomes. Unproductive failure involves repeating errors without learning, often coupled with denial, blame, or avoidance. To ensure your failures serve your growth, cultivate habits of honest self-assessment. Ask yourself, what happened? Why did it happen? What can I do differently next time? Seek feedback from trusted mentors or peers who can offer objective perspectives. This cycle of reflection and adaptation transforms failure into a powerful tool for growth. Creating an environment that embraces experimentation fosters a healthier relationship with failure. Viewing your efforts as experiments rather than definitive tests reduces anxiety and encourages innovation. When the stakes feel lower, you can take creative risks and pivot quickly if something isn't working. The tech industry, for example, thrives on a fail fast, learn faster culture that sees early failures as critical steps toward innovation. By adopting this experimental mindset in your own life, you allow yourself the freedom to try new approaches without the fear of permanent judgment. Practical strategies to embrace failure begin with setting realistic, failure-friendly goals. These goals should challenge you but be framed as opportunities to learn and grow rather than pass/fail tests. When setbacks occur, make a habit of documenting the experience. What were the circumstances? What emotions arose? What insights emerged? How will you modify your strategy? Journaling these reflections builds self-awareness and creates a feedback loop that accelerates growth. Over time, reviewing these notes reveals patterns of strength and areas for improvement. Social support is vital when dealing with failure. Surround yourself with people who encourage risk-taking and frame failure as a normal and valuable part of growth. Sharing your experiences with trusted friends, mentors, or communities reduces isolation and shame. It also opens the door to shared learning and emotional encouragement. Knowing that others have faced similar struggles and continued forward can be a powerful motivator. Many inspirational figures have turned failure into the foundation of their success. J.K. Rowling's path to publishing Harry Potter was marked by rejection and personal hardship, yet her perseverance was fueled by viewing failure as part of her story. Michael Jordan, often considered the greatest basketball player ever, was cut from his high school team but used that failure as motivation to practice harder and improve. Oprah Winfrey faced early career setbacks and discrimination but rose to become a media mogul through resilience and learning. These stories remind us that failure is not a dead end but a bend in the road, an essential part of the journey to greatness. Self-compassion is a crucial practice when confronting failure. Rather than harshly judging yourself, offer kindness and understanding, just as you would to a close friend. This reduces the corrosive effects of negative self-talk and protects mental health, maintaining the motivation to continue. Accept that failure is universal, everyone experiences it. What separates successful people is not an absence of failure, but the courage to persevere in spite of it. In summary, embracing failure requires a fundamental mindset shift. Failure is not an enemy to avoid but a necessary teacher to learn from. By reframing failure as feedback, cultivating a growth mindset, building resilience, practicing honest reflection, and treating yourself with compassion, you convert setbacks into stepping stones. Embracing failure liberates you from fear, empowering you to take bold, consistent action and move confidently toward your goals. Each failure you face is a vital part of your unique story of growth and success, a story you are continually writing with every step forward. Chapter 10. Cultivating Consistency, the Backbone of Lasting Success, continued. Understanding why consistency is so powerful requires us to look closely at human psychology and behavior patterns. Our brains crave routine and familiarity because they conserve energy by automating repeated behaviors. This principle explains why habits are so effective. Once an action becomes a habit, it no longer requires significant mental effort or decision-making. Consistency leverages this natural wiring by transforming intentional actions into automatic behaviors. creating momentum that carries you forward without the constant need for willpower. Yet, developing this automaticity takes time and deliberate effort, especially in the early stages when motivation can fluctuate wildly. One common barrier to consistency is the all-or-nothing mindset. When people set out to change, they often expect perfection from themselves immediately. For example, someone starting a fitness routine might believe that skipping a day means failure, which leads to giving up entirely. This rigid thinking undermines progress because it sets unrealistic standards and increases pressure. To cultivate lasting consistency, it's vital to practice self-compassion and embrace the progress, not perfection mentality. Accepting that setbacks are part of growth allows you to forgive yourself, learn from mistakes, and recommit without guilt. This mindset reduces the risk of burnout and builds sustainable habits. Another challenge is dealing with life's inevitable disruptions: travel, illness, stress, or unexpected responsibilities. These can derail routines and cause discouragement. However, the most consistent people are those who build flexibility into their systems. Flexibility means adjusting your actions without abandoning your goals. For example, if you usually exercise in the morning but miss a session due to travel, you might do a shorter workout later or focus on stretching instead. This adaptability keeps momentum alive and prevents temporary obstacles from becoming permanent setbacks. It's helpful to have backup plans or alternative options to maintain consistency even when circumstances change. Goal setting plays a crucial role in fostering consistency. Research shows that people who write down their goals and create detailed action plans are more likely to follow through. The SMART criteria, setting goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, provides a framework that enhances clarity and commitment. When your goals are crystal clear and broken down into manageable steps, it's easier to develop daily habits aligned with those objectives. For instance, instead of a vague goal like learn a new language, you might commit to practice vocabulary for 15 minutes each day. This level of specificity helps maintain focus and track progress. Tracking progress is another powerful consistency booster. When you monitor your actions regularly, you gain insight into your habits and motivation patterns. Visual tools like calendars, habit trackers, or apps provide a satisfying sense of achievement as you mark completed tasks. This visual reinforcement triggers the brain's reward system, encouraging continued behavior. Additionally, reviewing your progress can reveal patterns, identifying when you're most productive or what triggers lapses, allowing you to optimize your routine and address challenges proactively. Accountability is a proven strategy for sustaining consistency. Sharing your goals publicly or with trusted individuals increases your sense of responsibility. The social contract created by accountability partners or groups makes quitting harder because it affects not just you but others who are invested in your success. Regular check-ins, progress updates, and mutual encouragement create a support system that keeps you motivated and on track. Furthermore, surrounding yourself with people who model consistent behaviors inspires you to elevate your own standards and habits. Building consistency is not just about external systems but also about cultivating the right mindset. Patience is essential as meaningful change often unfolds slowly. In a culture obsessed with instant gratification, waiting for long-term rewards requires discipline and faith in the process. Visualizing your end goal and reflecting on the deeper reasons behind your actions help maintain motivation during challenging times. Meditation, mindfulness, and positive affirmations can strengthen your mental resilience, enabling you to face difficulties without losing sight of your commitment. The emotional benefits of consistency extend beyond goal achievement. Regularly engaging in purposeful actions fosters a sense of control and reduces anxiety by creating structure and predictability. It enhances self-esteem as you build evidence of your capability and reliability. Moreover, consistent habits improve physical and mental health, increase productivity, and deepen skills and knowledge. Over time, these benefits compound, improving the quality of your life in multifaceted ways. Successful people across diverse fields highlight the indispensable role of consistency. For example, writer Stephen King famously writes 2,000 words every day regardless of how he feels. This discipline enables him to produce vast amounts of work over decades. In business, entrepreneurs who consistently refine their products, engage with customers, and learn from feedback build enduring companies. Athletes who train daily even when motivation wanes achieve peak performance. These stories emphasize that talent and luck are often overshadowed by the power of persistent effort. Finally, integrating consistency into your life requires commitment to lifelong learning and adaptation. As you grow, your goals and circumstances may shift, requiring you to revisit and revise your routines. Consistency is not about rigidity but about ongoing, intentional practice aligned with your evolving vision. By embracing this dynamic approach, you ensure that your actions remain relevant, meaningful, and sustainable. In essence, cultivating consistency is a journey of self-discipline, self-awareness, and perseverance. It is the steady heartbeat beneath the pulse of ambition, enabling you to navigate obstacles and transform aspirations into tangible reality. By embedding consistent action into your daily life, you unlock the true power of taking action, building momentum that propels you steadily toward success and fulfillment. Chapter 11. Overcoming fear and doubt, taking action when the mind holds you back, deep expansion. Fear and doubt often lurk silently in the background of our minds, subtle yet powerful enough to dictate decisions, stifle creativity, and prevent us from taking action. These emotions, while natural and universal, can become disproportionate barriers when left unexamined. They thrive on uncertainty and the stories we tell ourselves about what might go wrong, building invisible walls that trap us in cycles of hesitation and inaction. To harness the true power of taking action, it's essential to dismantle these walls piece by piece, replacing fear and doubt with understanding, courage, and proactive strategies. A foundational truth about fear is that it is a future-oriented emotion. It projects possible negative outcomes before they happen. This tendency to anticipate worst-case scenarios is a survival mechanism, but it often exaggerates risks beyond reality. Cognitive distortions such as catastrophizing, expecting the worst possible outcome, and fortune-telling, predicting failure without evidence, fuel fear and doubt. Becoming aware of these mental habits allows you to challenge and reframe them. For instance, instead of "I will fail and embarrass myself," you might reframe to "I might face challenges, but I can learn and improve." This cognitive restructuring reduces the intensity of fear and opens space for action. Fear and doubt also tie closely to self-identity and self-worth. When you doubt your abilities or fear rejection, it often stems from deep beliefs about who you are. These beliefs may have been shaped by childhood experiences, cultural messages, or past failures. For example, if you grew up hearing "you're not good enough," that internalized message can manifest as doubt every time you attempt something new. Overcoming these limiting beliefs requires compassionate self-inquiry and sometimes professional support such as coaching or therapy. Building a new narrative, one that affirms your value and potential, is critical. Affirmations, journaling positive experiences, and surrounding yourself with uplifting people all help reshape your self-concept. Practical exercises can be invaluable in transforming fear into fuel. One such exercise is the fear-setting practice popularized by Tim Ferriss. It involves writing down the worst things that could happen if you take a particular action, ways to prevent them, and how you would recover if they did occur. This detailed mapping helps demystify fear and empowers you with concrete solutions. Another exercise is to create a courage journal, recording every instance where you acted despite fear, no matter how small. Reflecting on these moments builds confidence and rewires your brain to associate action with positive reinforcement. Building momentum through incremental action is essential. The 2-minute rule is a simple yet powerful technique. Commit to doing a task for just 2 minutes. Often, starting is the hardest part, and once you begin, you naturally continue beyond the initial time frame. This small step strategy reduces the intimidation factor and gradually builds habit strength. For example, if you fear public speaking, start by practicing in front of a mirror for 2 minutes, then progress to speaking in front of a trusted friend. Each small success chips away at fear. Visualization deserves special emphasis because it engages the brain's neural pathways similarly to real experience. Elite athletes, performers, and high achievers use visualization daily to prepare for challenges. By vividly imagining yourself succeeding, handling obstacles gracefully, and feeling confident, you create a mental blueprint that guides actual behavior. Pair visualization with emotional engagement, feeling the excitement and satisfaction of success, making it more effective. This mental rehearsal reduces anxiety and primes your brain to act with calm assurance. Understanding the biology of fear can also help manage it. When fear arises, the amygdala triggers the fight or flight response, flooding the body with adrenaline and cortisol. This physiological reaction prepares you to respond but can also cloud judgment and impair decision-making. Techniques such as deep breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, and mindfulness meditation activate the parasympathetic nervous system, calming these stress responses. Practicing these regularly equips you to face fear with a clearer mind and steadier nerves. Social support is a vital yet often underestimated factor in overcoming fear and doubt. Humans are inherently social creatures, and connection provides emotional safety and motivation. Sharing your fears openly with trusted friends or mentors reduces their intensity and invites perspective and encouragement. Being part of a community striving towards similar goals creates a sense of belonging and shared purpose that energizes your efforts. Consider joining groups, workshops, or online communities where vulnerability and growth are embraced. Reframing failure as an essential component of growth is transformative. Failure provides critical data that guides your next steps. Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This mindset turns setbacks into experiments rather than catastrophes. When you view failures as temporary and solvable, fear of failure diminishes and curiosity and resilience take their place. Adopting a growth mindset, as psychologist Carol Dweck calls it, means believing your abilities can develop through effort and learning, which fuels persistent action. Finally, cultivating courage involves daily choices. It's the small, consistent decisions to act despite discomfort that build the muscle of bravery. This requires self-trust, believing in your capacity to handle whatever comes next. Courage grows when you celebrate each attempt and remind yourself that fear is a natural part of the process, not a signal to stop. Over time, these repeated acts of courage expand your comfort zone, making what once felt impossible achievable. In essence, overcoming fear and doubt is a multifaceted journey involving mind, body, and environment. It's about retraining your brain, reframing limiting stories, practicing small courageous acts, leveraging social connections, and cultivating emotional regulation. By facing fear with intentional strategies and compassionate persistence, you unlock the full power of taking action, opening doors to growth, opportunity, and fulfillment previously hidden behind the veil of anxiety. Chapter 12. Sustaining Momentum. Turning Action into a Lifelong Habit. Extended Deep Dive. Sustaining momentum is arguably the most critical and challenging part of the journey to meaningful change. Initial bursts of energy and enthusiasm are easy to ignite but much harder to maintain. Without sustained momentum, even the most promising goals can fade into forgotten intentions. This chapter unpacks how to build a sustainable system for consistent action, one that withstands the natural ebbs and flows of motivation, the distractions and setbacks of daily life, and the inevitable plateaus that come with growth. To begin, it's important to understand that momentum is not just about action quantity but action quality and intentionality. Mindlessly pushing forward can lead to burnout and frustration, whereas mindful, purposeful action fosters lasting progress. This requires cultivating self-awareness and tuning into how your energy, mindset, and environment affect your ability to act consistently. Checking in daily with your mental and physical state helps you adjust plans, rest when needed, and keep your actions aligned with your highest priorities. Building systems and habits is a cornerstone of sustaining momentum. Habits automate action by embedding behaviors into routines that require less conscious effort. For example, placing your workout clothes next to your bed primes your mind to exercise first thing in the morning, making the decision easier. Over time, these cue routine reward cycles become automatic, conserving willpower for when you need it most. Identifying keystone habits, those that trigger positive ripple effects in other areas of life, can multiply your progress. This might be a daily journaling practice that boosts clarity, a regular gratitude habit that enhances positivity, or a weekly review session that refocuses goals. Another essential factor is setting realistic, flexible goals that inspire and guide you without overwhelming. Overambitious or vague goals often lead to frustration and abandonment. Break your big dreams into smaller, achievable milestones that provide frequent wins and keep motivation high. Celebrate each milestone as a meaningful victory and use it as fuel for the next stage. Also, adopt a growth mindset, viewing challenges and plateaus not as failures but as signals to adapt and learn. This mindset shift transforms obstacles into opportunities, sustaining momentum through ups and downs. Embracing intrinsic motivation, doing things because they matter deeply to you, fuels sustainable momentum far more effectively than extrinsic rewards alone. Reflect on how your goals connect to your core values and vision for your life. When your actions resonate with your authentic self, they generate internal satisfaction that lasts beyond external achievements. Practices like values clarification exercises, vision boarding, and mindful reflection can deepen this connection. Regularly revisit and refine your why to keep it vibrant and relevant. The role of accountability cannot be overstated in maintaining momentum. Accountability partners, mentors, or groups provide encouragement, constructive feedback, and a sense of obligation that propels you forward. When you know someone is cheering for you or expecting updates, you're more likely to follow through. This social connection also offers emotional support during challenging times. Consider formal accountability structures like weekly check-ins, progress-sharing platforms, or peer coaching circles. Managing energy, not just time, is crucial. Momentum depends on sustainable energy levels. Prioritize restorative practices such as quality sleep, nutritious eating, physical activity, and mental breaks to keep your body and brain functioning optimally. Pay attention to your natural rhythms. If you're a morning person, schedule your most important tasks early. If you're more alert in the afternoon, plan accordingly. Avoid multitasking and distractions to conserve focus and flow, which enhances both efficiency and satisfaction. Emotional resilience and self-compassion form the psychological backbone of sustained momentum. Encountering setbacks, self-doubt, or fatigue is inevitable. Instead of beating yourself up, practice kindness and understanding toward yourself, just as you would a close friend. Reframe mistakes as learning opportunities and reminders to adjust your course rather than abandon it. Techniques such as mindfulness meditation, affirmations, and journaling about your growth can bolster emotional resilience and keep you anchored. Creating an environment that supports your goals is another practical yet powerful strategy. Declutter your physical space to minimize distractions and make it conducive to focus. Surround yourself with inspirational reminders, quotes, photos, music that energize your commitment. Digitally, set boundaries by managing notifications, using productivity apps, or designating focus times. Your environment can either sabotage or amplify your momentum, so design it intentionally. Over the long term, momentum is sustained by finding joy in the process, not just the outcome. When you focus solely on end results, motivation can fluctuate wildly. Instead, cultivate curiosity, playfulness, and gratitude in your daily actions. Celebrate small discoveries, savor moments of progress, and view challenges as puzzles to solve. This mindset transforms your journey into an adventure, making it easier to sustain effort through highs and lows. Lastly, remember that sustaining momentum is an evolving dance, not a fixed formula. Your needs, goals, and circumstances will shift. Periodically pause to reflect, recalibrate, and renew your vision and strategies. This cyclical approach prevents stagnation and keeps your journey aligned with your evolving self. Momentum is a living force. Nurture it with patience, persistence, and passion. In summary, sustaining momentum involves building intentional habits and systems, aligning action with authentic purpose, maintaining accountability, managing energy wisely, cultivating resilience and self-compassion, designing a supportive environment, and finding joy in the journey. It's the art and science of consistent, mindful action that transforms fleeting motivation into lifelong achievement and fulfillment. This mastery of momentum unlocks the ultimate power of taking action, creating a life shaped by deliberate progress and courageous persistence. Your path forward is bright and expansive, fueled by every step you take today and every choice you make to keep moving. Harness this power, and your potential becomes limitless. And that brings us to the end of The Power of Taking Action by A.T. Shiva. Thank you so much for listening and for investing this time in yourself. Remember, action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. The smallest step forward today can lead to the biggest breakthrough tomorrow. If this audiobook inspired you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What chapter resonated with you the most? What action are you ready to take next? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs a push toward their purpose. This is A.T. Shiva reminding you, you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to begin. Stay bold. Stay focused. Keep taking action. Until next time, be fearless and go create the life you were meant to live.